Um, Give me screen. So today's agenda is table monitoring and the transaction monitoring. So if we see, we do send the daily monitoring reports to the entire Oracle team. As in, this is dedicated to offshore, and every day before EST hours, they used to send this particular report, which would have table monitoring, as in the interface tables, monitoring of all of those interface tables, AP, AR, GL, and also a few of the key programs of the AS400 interfaces. So we get the error report from the AS400 interfaces, through which offshore would analyze that what is this error about and what the business has to take an action on it, and we would send an email in this particular format. Let me open that sheet. So if you see here, we will have we would capture all the count of errors that belongs to the receivable invoice interface with this particular error description, and for that particular period. I think it is being captured for the prior period and as well as the current period. So we get all of the counts and the distinct error messages over here, so that Oracle team and they can reach out to business and they can take appropriate action. And sales order interface, which is stuck in ER interface, and AP invoice interface, everything which is stuck in AP interface tables, and the PO receipt interface.
Yeah, I have a question. According to plan, today we will see fresh service. Is correct?
Yeah, we used to see the interface tables, or Oracle standard interface tables.
Rosie, were you asking about fresh service?
In case, yeah, I think according to plan, today we will see fresh service access and training. I think
I switched it up. I had made a note in the meeting. I swapped those sessions. Because Mike is working on getting you guys access, and I wanted your access to be there, like the setups, before we looked at fresh service. So today we had the table monitoring, and what else did I have on there?
The transaction monitoring, Tia.
Yeah, exception monitoring.
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Thanks.
So Divya, these monitoring pieces, you said that first one, the AS400 interface, is an email that comes to you guys, so we would need to get Rosie's team added to that email.
Yes, Tia. Yeah.
It's a job that runs, that emails the output to y'all? Or?
ITR Shiva here. Hi Divya. Can I take this up, Divya? Yeah. So regarding the interface, regarding the AS400 stuffs, email comes around. But for the interface, I think team is having few queries they are writing and they are bringing it into this format. Am I right, Divya?
Yes, Shiva. We do have few queries through which we get all of this monitoring for interface tables. Correct. But for the AS400 interface Tia, for future monitoring purpose, I think their email address should be added to the lookup.
Can you
I think once Kausi is back, she would take care of it. Because all we have to do is we have to go and edit the lookups, from which the output of that interface would be sent to those email addresses.
Okay, so that the first one is Kausi. And then as far as the queries for monitoring, is that something that you guys, that we could share and like put out on Teams that we can share with the Oracle team in Mexico?
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So there are technical queries behind this, through which our team takes an action and prepares this template, because the count could vary. Today there would be one error and tomorrow there would not be. So every day they take this before ESTR's login, and they send out an email with this interface monitoring GL interface. And addition to this, we do have a PCAD interface, as in our custom PCAD program, where there are files which would get stuck and we will have to reprocess it, and while reprocessing, I think they rename it. So whichever files are in error for the PCAD interface, they would give that, and as well as the run date.
So these are all like the credit card files which comes from bank to us. So if there is any setup missing in our system with the employee or the card, then it will not even process any data on the file, which means then this will get logged into a table, and still we have a query to find it out what got processed, what not. Based on that query, we pull all the information which is not processed here, and not only they will share it to Kausalya with the Oracle team, I mean. Based on that, they will take the necessary action and they will rename this file and place it into the needed folder where it gets reprocessed automatically.
Okay. So
Right.
why is this one job different? Why do you guys have to send the details on this? Why can't we set it up as an email or something that errors out so we know that we get it?
We do get a normal report, Tia. Actually, we do get a normal report to the needed recipients with the file, with the failure of the file, or with the when it got processed or not. But it will be like we have many programs in that, like process, validate, and MasterCard program, and updating the card IDs and all these things. So it will be too much of cumbersome. For that reason, we thought of collating everything as an easy thing and giving back to the Oracle team. In that way, it will be much more faster. In general, they do get an emails for any kind of validation, success and failures. But if
It
there are
was a
multiple,
special request that came from Kausitia, so that she can process these files.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out another way that we might could handle that, because and you know, I can talk to Rosie and her team about this, but it seems like we might could move to weekly monitoring instead of daily, just to cut down on some of the overhead. And just, you know, time it so that we're doing it before we get to a close period, you know, whatever that week before close, doing it early in the week. But if we did that, I'm just trying to make sure this P-card interface piece would get captured somewhere else, so we would know, you know, quickly if there's failures without having to necessarily do all of this every day.
Can we just make sure that we have the same queries, that our team has have the queries so that we can run them on demand?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll get those from them. I was thinking we can put them on Teams where we've got this global support
Yeah.
team set up. Yeah. But going back to the P-card one, somebody came to the door, so I stepped out for a second. So what, did you say, Siva, that there is an email also coming out on that, and then this piece is done as well, or we would need to modify that one?
that's right, yeah. So what
Okay.
happens is, there are many process actually when you do a P card, like it picks the file, validate it, and MasterCard program runs, which push the data from bank file into our Oracle. Further on, we update the card ID in order to display the transaction for the respective employee. On each process, we have a validation stuff where it's success or failures that accordingly goes and sends to the corresponding recipients. So that happens, but there could be a possibility of 4 or 5 files can come in the same day. So that will be too much of cumbersome for any users to go and collate everything. For such purpose, we as requested by Kausalya, as Divya specified, we are just making sure at the end of the day what are the files came which are all errored out. So those files list we are just making sure and sending back. Probably with this file name, Kausalya might be checking on their email and finding to know what kind of issue has happened and coordinating with business to correct it and place the file back, renaming it into the respective location where it get reprocessed.
I'm sorry,
So I
Tia,
think
but
we'll focus. Sorry, go
I'm so
ahead.
sorry to interrupt, Tia, but Rosie's saying that they're kind of lost, and me too. I mean, you guys have been talking pretty fast, but I'm not I understand everything, but I'm not an expert in the field. So, is there a way that maybe we can summarize the most important things that you guys just talked about, so that the team can understand? She's just saying that she's a little bit lost.
Okay, so this whole subject for today is around Oracle table monitoring and exceptions, right?
Right.
So
Rosie, ¿todo está claro de esta parte que está diciendo Tia? ¿Que están hablando de esto?
Déjame preguntar nada más a los chicos, Oscar.
Okay.
Yeah,
She's gonna ask
it's
something to the
clear
team.
for me. Yes. Sorry, Oscar. Chicos, ¿tienen alguna duda al respecto a este tema? Es sobre el monitoreo.
No, yo no.
Sí, o sea, la parte de arriba vienen las tablas de interfaz estándares, pero y vienen los errores que tienen en esas tablas y el conteo de cuántos registros tienen, está bien. Yo me quedo un poco confundido en esta parte de Picard Interface. El manejo, inclusive creo que es quizá entendí mal, que es una interfaz custom, así lo entendí, y manejan estos archivos que ven en la comunicación entre el banco y Oracle, y tienen ciertos errores, y por eso marcan estos archivos que son los archivos de proceso de la información de las tarjetas de crédito de entre los bancos y Oracle. Está bien, pero o sea,
¿Tú
como
entendiste esa parte de la credit card?
Es la parte de expenses, Rosy.
ajá,
La parte de informes de gastos, son los informes de gastos. Y lo que entiendo pues es que hacen una interfase para cargar los estados de cuenta de los empleados por la Picard Interface, ¿no?
Ajá, pero
Entonces,
estos archivos son los archivos para procesar esa información, y cuando tienen ciertos errores pues no se pueden procesar y quedan aquí como pendientes y hay que arreglarlos, pero no sé si nos van a mostrar los errores como tal de estos archivos, porque
y aparte creo que se los manda por correo, ¿no? Se los mandan por correo, ¿no?
ajá,
por email.
Son las dudas que habría que preguntar, ¿no?
sí, ¿cuáles son los errores de estos archivos? Porque sí, ahí están que están esos archivos con error, pero ¿dónde están los
Un
errores?
mapeo, ¿no? Porque si nos envían el archivo, va a marcar el error, pero no tenemos como tal el mapeo del archivo original de qué es lo que tiene que llevar.
Ok. ¿Quién pregunta?
Si quieres, yo pregunto, o si quieres le pasamos la pregunta a Oscar, como tú digas.
Yo creo que Arturo, tu inglés es muy bueno, ¿eh?
Ok.
Y tú sabes de qué estás hablando y te apoyo, ¿eh? Entonces te estoy escuchando y a ver que te entienden, y si no, te apoyo.
Okay, Divya, I have a question regarding with the Picard interface. Just as first step is, just to clarify, is this a custom interface?
Yes, these are custom interfaces, and maybe since we haven't had any finance sessions, we are having some doubts on this, but all these interfaces, because this is one of the key program, this will be handled in finance KT session.
Okay, the next point about this is what's the mapping? I think because here I only see the name of the file with error. For example, Crispico and this kind of number, the structure of the name. But well, what's inside of this file? What's the mapping related in this file in order to push the info into the Oracle? And I don't know. Maybe is it possible to see how the file works with into the Oracle in what in some screen? I don't know how to find this information in Oracle.
Hey, let me see if I can help clarify here. So what we were trying to do was just show you guys what the current AMS team is monitoring in terms of tables and key transactions. And they do this on a daily basis. So that's what you guys are seeing as a summary. And so what we need to figure out going forward is, you know, who runs these queries to check these tables and these key interfaces and does the summary of things that are potentially stuck. And that's where we were saying, we'll get these queries and we'll save them off somewhere, and then we'll determine the right cadence. So right now they're doing them daily, but you know, maybe we could look at doing it weekly. I think it just depends on how much time the Mexico team has and whether or not, you know, you could fit this in. But at a minimum, I think it needs to be done weekly. And so that's all this was showing, was what the current like summary reporting looks like in monitoring these tables and transactions. So the details of the P-card interface we'll get into in another session.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be part of the finance sessions when Kelsey gets back.
Okay, yeah, if we will review this information in detail in another session, it's good. It's good for us.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Tia.
You're welcome.
Rosy, ¿todo claro? ¿Sí entendiste bien?
Sí, yes. I have I have a question, another question. In the other session, Tia, we can review the details and errors about these transactions.
In another session, review the errors.
And details about these transactions.
We will review the details of this P-card interface because that is one of our Kimleys that's on the list. The other pieces that Divya was showing are just like standard table monitoring. And Divya, I think you said the Oracle team, like Kossi or Laura, Mark, or whomever, would then go research the transactions and then ask for help if needed, correct? Yeah. You guys aren't doing any action off of those errors, right?
No.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Are you talking specifically about P-card?
No, I'm talking about anything on this error report, like what action is taken. I think what Rosie's trying to figure out is, are they supposed to do something with this, or are we supposed to do something with this? So I think typically we would be looking at these errors and trying to, you know, work with the business or clean them up ourselves. And if we need more information, we would ask for additional information from the AMS team, correct?
Yeah, I think each one of us have different ones that we take care of. Like this one here, P-card. Kossi versed me on it before she left, and I've been taking care of these. I've done like 4 of them since she's left.
Yeah, if they fail, you reprocess them.
Yeah.
Or work with the business to fix something. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Rosie, I don't know if that answers your question or not, but the majority of this is informational for our team. And then if we need additional help to deep dive into an error, then we would probably get help from one of the technical resources. Arturo or Jose or somebody.
Okay, tia, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Oscar. Go ahead.
Thank you, Tia. So this is the table monitoring sheet which we send, and we have another Word document which would have the AS400 error analysis, and this is all the custom AS400 interfaces which we have, and for all the data that is coming in from AS400 for the creation of item, all those errors will be captured and the report would be sent out to Oracle team and to us, from which we will identify that staging errors where there are validation that gets failed and it was not processed further. So we capture those errors and we give, here we do the analysis and resolution as well, so that they can take immediate action on it. For example, stuck data interface, validation complete. There already exists an item in this organization with the same segment values. So looks like, I think this is a duplicate record that has come in. So maybe a delete script would be needed. We would give the corresponding resolution as well. What Oracle team and business can take action on this particular error message, we would just give this. So we can cover all of these interfaces in detail when we have a session for DFT interfaces. So this one as well will be covered, but these three interfaces, the product, customer, and the invoice, we monitor these separately, and we give our analysis and resolution for this. So similarly, we have the customer interface report where the customer will not be created or updated because of some reason, either they haven't passed the bill to or ship to information, and maybe some of the field is missing. They will have to pass that for that particular record. So Kausalya will be approaching the AS400 team, or even I think previously Scott used to take action on it. And the AS400 sales interface as well. So if one line has an error, we would display all the lines saying that error occurred in any of the lines. A header would have that particular error message. So this is a header error record, and for the line, it looks like the cost is not populated. So this, our team does it manually, like we have to get to know the interface better and what are the validations that are taking place within the package, based on which we would provide our analysis and resolution. This is a manual activity which is done by our team. Any questions?
No, not so far from me.
Chicos,
Sí.
¿alguna duda? Fer, Luis, Rose, Emma.
¿Por qué no?
¿No?
No.
No.
Sí, ¿cada cuándo se corren las interfaces? ¿Qué días se corren y sobre todo las que son manuales?
Pero aquí habla exclusivamente de la de que estamos viendo de AS400. No son varias.
Okay.
Y lo que está mostrando son los errores. ¿Tú quieres saber si están programadas?
Ya ves que esta última dijo que la corren los chicos regularmente manual. Entonces, nada más esa fue como o ahí fue la duda, prácticamente.
Quizás si las vamos a ver más adelante en otras sesiones, ahí podremos preguntar todos los detalles al respecto, Rosy. No sé.
Porque hablaron de que vamos a ver los detalles en otra sesión. Ujú.
Si quieres, ahí ya preguntamos cómo funciona en específico cada una de ellas, cómo se ejecutan, quién lo hace, si es manual, si hay un concurrente automático, ahí, bueno, más bien programado y que saca el reporte y manda el correo. Quizá podremos ir preguntar todos esos detalles.
Sí, Rose, ¿está bien?
Okay.
No questions, Divya. Thanks. So, go ahead.
Thank you, Rosie. Let me see. But we would handle all of these interfaces in finance KTs. Maybe at that time, you would get much more idea on all of these interfaces. Right now, you may be having few questions regarding these error messages, but once we handle those interface KTs, I think we should be good. So Tia, this is the table and the transaction monitoring which we have. Do you want me to show the Oracle monitor from VNC Viewer?
Yeah, that'd be good. While you're pulling that up, I'm gonna ask Rosie a quick question. Rosie, do you guys do table monitoring for the Mexico operating unit? Do y'all do anything similar to this
Mm,
for the stuck transactions, etc.?
yes, yeah. We have monitoring tables and some transactions in OM principally.
Okay. I'm just thinking about where, once we get settled, there's probably processes we could share between the two teams. If this was more than what you're doing today, maybe you could leverage this, or if you guys are doing things that we're not doing, we can leverage things that you're doing there, right? To get to some standard overall processes.
Okay. But in Mexico, we don't have the reports similar to this report. Just to review directly on the table or by query only.
Yeah, we have, for example, Luis and Fernando checks the information about PO and OM modules, all information about the interfaces, and Rosaura and me, we review everything related with AR and sometimes OM2, maybe GL interfaces, standard interfaces. But we don't have, we don't create any kind of like a report or something like that. We review all the errors, and every day we try to resolve them, resolve all the errors and related with all the interfaces.
Yes.
Okay.
We have reports just when the user is review this transaction. For example, in AR model, in invoice stamped, the users review by reports.
Right. Yeah, our users also run reports as part of, month-end and things as well. So this is in addition to that, but we do that same thing. So that makes sense. Okay. Okay, Divya.
Thank you, Tia. So other than this, we do have one Oracle TV monitor where we would see all the information about long-running process and if there is any program which got errored out. So that is nothing but a custom form, and it is directly linked with the monitor, which is present at the KK office, and I'm just accessing it through a remote VNC viewer session. So the Oracle TV monitor screen would be like this. So here the request would come in such a way that, for example, this particular program, 2 days back, it was erroring out, and Dinesh monitored that and he reached out to us saying that this particular program was erroring out from past 2 days or something. And when we noticed that the file name was there with the comma in it, so all they have to do is just change the file name, remove the extra special characters which was present in that, and the program would automatically pick those files in the next run, and it would not error out. So based on this, the request would come from the Oracle team. So we may have to analyze accordingly, and this would have all the error programs, workflow background process, stuck interfaces, long running program, and the status of the instances, Big Mac Sigma latest receipt times, and if there is any DB lock which is present in the system, we may have to contact DBA, and all the workflow services, whether it is in the running status or whether it is stuck or pending. So all of this information is captured in this Oracle monitor. Is there anything to add up, Shiva or Tia?
I don't think so. Yeah, so this is on a big TV monitor here in our office that we can see, like we walk by and can see the status of what's happening. And I think it'd be helpful to get Rosie and team access to this. So like under the long running programs to the left, I know we've seen some long running programs on the Mexico side for some of your jobs. So I think it would be, helpful to you all to see some of this information as well.
The access on these reports is included in another session when we will see details.
This one is just more of a dashboard that we could get you guys access to, but we could talk through each section if you had questions about what it's monitoring. But I don't know that we would necessarily get into the details in another session.
Okay, thanks.
Divya, is this something where you could kind of write up a quick description or background of what each of these sections is pulling from? I mean, I know some of it's self-explanatory, but some of this is probably a little foreign to them as they're working, to get caught up. But like the shops placing orders on the right is very specific, to US.
Yeah.
But maybe if we did just a little write-up on each section to say where the information's coming from and what it's representing, that might be helpful.
Okay, Tia. On a high level, I can give a note on each of
or what the criteria is, like when is it going into failure or what's it looking for. Yeah. Okay.
So, Tia, apart from this, normally team monitors even the create accounting and they come up with the issues and the solutions. Probably that will get covered in the finance session, I believe so. Am I right?
Yeah. Let me look real quick at, thought we had that listed out, but let me see. That we had a specific session on month-end monitoring or month-end activities. I thought I had added it. But I don't see it on our list. So, yeah, I mean, maybe we could touch on it right now, but then go into more detail when Kelsey's back in the finance sessions.
Yeah.
Maybe just walk through the process of what we do to support month-end.
Okay. So other than these, we do monitor the create accounting issues so that our month end would be easier. And what we do is usually offshore finance functional person would monitor these at every week so that he can compile each of the errors at different modules. And how he does that is every week the PCH instance would get cloned. So he would run the create accounting from PCH instance, which would have most of the error messages which is present in prod. So he would start compiling all of those errors. So from the OPM module, from OPM financials, he would go and run the create accounting and all these event classes, this particular event class, direct interrog receipt, and what is the event type and the error message, and he would go and analyze what is the root cause of this, because we have few custom mapping sets in SLA which is defined, and there will be like few item categories which are missing or few organizations which would be missing. So he will get the root cause and the corresponding solution, and a few of the things which he can test it out in PCH, he would test it out and provide the screenshots in this detailed document. So these are all SLA setups which we know. So he would go to the corresponding event class and the event type which has that particular error, and go on the journal line definition or wherever we need to modify. Click on it, go to the corresponding ADR, account derivation rule, and the mapping set. All of the detailed information we would be providing it to Kausalya so that during month end she can take care of all these at once. I think she will start working on it the last week of month end, during the period close week, or whenever she gets time, she tries to close off all of these errors. So he would just add the relevant values here, and he will rerun the program in PCH instance so that this error would go away. So similarly, all of the errors which is present in PCH instance would be captured here. And similarly, from the payables module, from AP create accounting, all the error messages, their root cause and the solution if the CCID has to be enabled, and there will be some instances where we have to enable that code combinations and then run the create accounting, and they would disable the code combination. So all of this, we would just give the suggested solution, and it would be Kausi who would be, or the Oracle team who would be taking action on this. And we give for all of the modules, receivables, fixed assets, cost management. Usually we don't get any errors in cost management and cash management. And also as part of this month-end process, we do give them give a sweep script where Kausi will create a work order every period, for every period, and we would give the sweep script so that all the transactions belonging to the prior period will be moved to the current period, which are in error. In create accounting output, if you notice, there would be some error messages belonging to GL period, not an open period. So those kind of for those error records, we provide the sweep script belonging to that particular module. We have for AP, AR, OPM, and FA. And I'll also provide you the script. We have it in the Aura backup migrations folder under the particular work order number. So I can give you a sample script. What we do is we go and modify the sysdate or the accounting date every month, and Dinesh would be running that script during every period close.
So, do you modify the dates in that script every week or every period? And
every period.
Every period.
Yeah.
And
Every
after
period,
that,
what we would do is we would give a date which would fall under an open period.
okay, and after that, do you send an email to the Dinesh in order to advise? Or to,
No, that will be a work order process because Kausalya every month she raises a work order for this. So like every other migration that would take place, this as well will go on through that work order.
okay.
And other than this, we do have some sub-inventory interface errors, sub-inventory errors belonging to this OPM, where we did raise an SR and Oracle just told that we can just mark it unprocessed. So there is an update script only for that particular error message. There will be an error message only for sub-inventory transfers, and for that particular thing, along with the sweep script, we have that update script as well, which I can include in this, or I can give you the folder location where we have placed that file, and your team can just modify the accounting date there as well.
Okay.
And I think this is one monitoring which we do on regular basis. So from PCH instance, we do it, and any errors that get raised. For example, PCH is cloned every week, and Monday we get the instance. But if the closure is this week, and if there are any new errors in prod, mostly Kausalya will be resolving it on her own, or she would send the latest create accounting output to offshore. And we would get the error analysis. But only thing is, for those kind of new errors, we would not be able to work it out in PCH, which Kausalya will take care. Any questions?
¿Alguna duda, chicos?
No.
What happens if one of these error is not able to replicate it in PSH? Do you? Well, I think that you have to resolve in production, I think. But do you make a clone, a specific clone, or something like that with Dinesh, or because as I understand, every kind of error is replicated on PCH.
So Arturo, these queries that Davey is talking about right here are actually run in PCH after the clone each week. Yeah. So that means, they're going to be in production. But if I'm following your question, there could be some things that pop up in production that are not in the clone, like right before close, that last weekend or something like that. And if that happens, and it's a big enough issue that we don't feel comfortable fixing it directly in production, then we will do another clone, and get the information copied off so we can test it and fix it and then move it to production. It just depends on what kind of error it is, and how invasive or risky it is, and what kind of testing we need to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
¿Alguna duda adicional, chicos? ¿No? Luis, Fer.
No, Luis. No, Rosy.
No more questions so far. Vivian, thanks.
Thank you, Rosie. So Tia, I think we have covered up table monitoring, transaction monitoring, and create accounting as well. Is there anything you want to cover in this session?
Can't think of anything else that really goes with this.
Ahorita.
Yeah, I think other than just, documenting some of this a little bit more, like taking each
Sí, de hecho, la última conversación que tuvimos
monitoring
con María
piece
ya
and kind
todos
of
tienen
saying what it's
bebidas.
used for and where the queries are, and we can work together on getting those moved
Ajá.
or saved somewhere where the
De hecho,
Mexico
lo
team
único
has
que
access to them. So I think we're good. But
en
since
el
I'm
último
on
correo
this
que me mandaron,
session,
ya se
I'd
activaron
like to
todos
take the
los combos
opportunity
que
to
eran
ask
los únicos que
everybody
eran
how
menudonas.
the other sessions have gone that I haven't been in, and if we're on
Lo
track
único
with
que
the
me
schedule,
pidieron
or if
inactivar
we need to modify it any
entrando
before
ya
I go
agosto fue
scheduling the
bebidas
sessions
embotelladas.
for the rest of the
Eso ya
week.
lo modifiqué. Y también lo que hice fue configurar para Yalo, porque es el único que los días martes y los días jueves corra
So,
el
Divya,
menú de
have you
acuerdo
just
a las
followed the
promociones.
schedule each day that has been on there, or have y'all gotten ahead on
Para a
anything,
domicilio
or
ya se
where are we?
configuró esa opción
Yes,
en
Tia,
su
we have
plataforma porque es más sencillo.
followed the session.
Okay.
So whatever agenda was given, we have covered it
Pero
each
si
day.
deseas me acerco con Lore y con Carla para reforzar lo de que
Rosie, do
todo
you or
sea
your team
menú.
have any feedback so far on how these are going? Are they helpful? Should we do anything different for the rest of the sessions? Or how is this working for y'all?
Sí. Sí, de hecho ya lo hice. Tengo dos menús. Bueno,
Well,
ahorita tengo 5, pero
for
tengo
me,
dos menús principales, que uno es para
I
domicilio
don't have
y el otro menú es para todos los canales.
for the
De
first
ahí
session,
repliqué el
Divya
de jueves,
sent us
viernes y días
an
12
email with the
para
documents,
Yalo.
but
Entonces
after
digamos que
that,
tengo 5 menús. Si
we
llegaran
don't
a
receive
decir
any more
que necesitamos menú
documents, so I
donas,
don't know
entonces nada más duplico
if
y
she
elimino
or
todo
they are
lo de bebidas y se le asigna a la tienda.
details of that
O sea,
document,
es más rápido.
and then or just on if we will receive another document.
Ya la cargué. Ya la cargué. Ayer me dediqué a
we can
cargar
keep
lo que
sending
fue
the
imágenes
documents for each session.
y preguntas
But
forzadas, modificadores. Eso ya lo
we
tengo.
also want to have a repository, a central repository of where all the final documentation sits, and that you guys have access to, which is what I've been working on with Mike Newman and the help desk to try and, get you guys access to either SharePoint or a team site. So just know that if we send you something in email right now for each session, it's, those are just one-offs, but eventually we're going to have a centralized repository with everything
Sí, de acuerdo, no tengo problema.
that you'll have
Ahorita
access to.
capturo las imágenes o
So
saco un
the
videito
emails
para
right
que lo
now
vean.
are kind of, will be duplicative, sending it to you as a one-off. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just I'm not sure that if I have access to that repository. Rosie, do you have access to that?
Yes, I can hear very well, Arthur. Yes, yeah, Mike Newman sent an email a few moments. Yes.
Okay.
And maybe tomorrow we will have the sessions with him. If you agree, we are okay with this session so far.
So Divya, do you plan to send the documentation for each of the sessions we've had so far?
Yes, Tia. I was waiting upon Vara on. He just had to update 2 interfaces for the BST process, so I thought of sending along with that. I'll just check with Vara and I'll send him the document.
Or maybe let us check the repository and try to find all the documentation that we need, and maybe after that maybe we can send an email or comment tomorrow in order to try to put in order all the information that we need.
Say that again, Arturo. I'm not sure I followed. What would be your preference?
Well, until now I still maybe we can review all the documentation files in the located in the repository, and maybe we can review all of them.
Yeah.
And tomorrow talk about a little with that. maybe it's not necessary an email with
Yeah.
all the documentation.
Right. Instead of emailing things around, just wait until they're in the repository that we're going to
Yeah.
have them in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That was what I was thinking too, would be best, because otherwise you won't know. Yeah, it's just coming to you in piecemeal instead of everything being organized in one place.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Well, I'll send out the sessions for the rest of the week sometime today, and we'll just keep working our way down the list.
De
And then when
hecho,
Kasi gets back, we'll tackle the finance side.
en su momento marketing mandó todo lo que tú estás comentando, pero si quieres lo veo
Okay.
yo con Sandra
Okay.
o yo, como
Sounds
ustedes
good,
gusten.
everybody. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you
All
for
right,
it.
have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ay.
Bye.
Sí, claro.